We're back with a big deal. I'm Tim Boyum. As high demand and low inventory continues to push home and rental prices to new highs, affordability remains a top concern for voters this election year. So the median price of a home in the United States, it's around $363,000 right now. That twice as high as August of 2019, according to Zillow's Home Values Index. If you look at individual states, the steepest housing costs can be found in Hawaii and California, where the average cost of a home is well above $750,000. In California, as people struggle to buy a home, some residents are choosing a mobile housing option to save money. Spectrum News reporter Bree Steffen spoke with so-called van lifers in San Diego about their dedication to living simply and cheaply.
Turning a vehicle into a home is where Jacob Kuhn has found his passion.
It pays to be short sometimes.
He outfits every nook and cranny with the things needed to live in a van conversion. Everything from electrical to storage.
Van people are just kind of like a different breed. Like they're already, like even just to like want to live in a van, you already have to be kind of like thinking different, like outside the box.
Jacob himself moved into a van years ago to save money on rent. After retiring from the Coast Guard, he turned his hobby into a business, now running 7 Seas vans. He says he's seen a 50% increase in customer requests over the last year.
I'm always constantly like stacked, like busy with work, but just the amount of people asking about builds and all that has gone up. I get like probably one a week. It used to be like maybe 1 or 2 a month. Now it's like at least one person a week.
ThriveMyWay.com found that in 2023, more than half of van lifers live in their vehicles full time, with California being one of the states with the most van lifers. Andy Gonzalez has been living and traveling in his camper van for 6 years. He found remote work as a writer and says he wouldn't be able to afford the thousands of dollars in rent it costs to have an apartment in San Diego.
It's awesome being able to live here without the price of living.
Nomad Home estimates the cost of living in a van falls between $1,000 to $2,000 per month for single travelers and more for couples. Andy estimates he lives on less than $500 a month. And with California currently holding the nation's highest unemployment rate, he believes van life might give others a break from the cost of living struggle.
I feel like it's a really good solution for everybody. And sometimes the overall well-being of life is much better just because, you have the freedom to move around and you also find that you're saving up money. Come on, buddy.
Jacob says he will keep living in his van with his puppy Moose until he can save enough money to buy a piece of land. He says his clients are a mix of people working remote and people who have in-person jobs, but all are trying to find a better life.
Living in my van, then you drive by and you wonder what people are thinking, oh, this guy's homeless. But they don't realize that you're working hard on the side. But I think that's going away, and I think people realize that no, it's just hard to survive out here.
Looking for ways to save in a challenging economy. Bree Steffen, Spectrum News.
Joining now with more on the housing crisis is Alex Horowitz, the project director of the Pew's Housing Policy Initiative. Alex, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So we just saw there, obviously, a man who's retrofitting vans for people to live in because they can't afford housing. So should we celebrate his inventiveness or mourn that the American dream is slipping away? Or is it creating a new generation who has perhaps a different view of home ownership?
Well, we see that people want to live in housing they can afford. They want to live in housing that's safe. Housing is the biggest line item in a family's budget. But we're at the point now where half of renters are spending more than 30% of income on rent, and a quarter of renters are spending more than 50% of income on rent. People are simply cost burdened. The cost of housing has risen so much and so quickly that they can't keep up. And that's why we're seeing median rents at an all-time high, housing costs at an all-time high, including prices. So it's gotten a lot tougher to afford a home, whether you're trying to buy or rent.
So we're seeing cities trying to do a lot. Most commonly, from what I've seen, dumping tens of millions of dollars into projects. You look at this from a broad scale. Is there anything that seems to be working in particular that other cities should replicate?
The places that have had the most success are those that have made it the easiest to build housing. It's not the places that have spent the most. So we're looking at jurisdictions that have made it much easier to build apartments, especially near commerce and near transit, because they've updated their zoning rules to allow quick permitting and allow apartment buildings, especially in mixed use areas where people can get to jobs easily, they can get to schools easily. Minneapolis is really the poster child for this, and it's paid off. At the same time that rents rose 31% in the US over a recent 6-year period, they only rose 1% in Minneapolis. Wages rose much faster than that. And so housing affordability improved. Houston, Texas had a similar experience. They updated their rules. They got 80,000 townhouses when they began allowing them and making it easy to build them. And so they've seen housing stay affordable, even though Houston is the 4th largest city in the US.
All right, so this is an election year. We can't escape it. I've been traveling the country, talking to a lot of local communities, and housing is an issue literally everywhere I've been. In one place, Kansas City, the mayor, Quentin Lucas, he was talking about housing just not coming up enough, whether it's the presidential race, governor races, all the way down. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
But the issues that mayors are actually confronting each and every day are the ones that really will make a difference in how our country is doing better. And frankly, even though many of us are not on the ballot in 2024, it's our issues and it's how they're resolved, which have far more to do with the "are you better off today than you were 4 years ago" question and answer. And I hope more national leaders see that.
So Alex, is he right? And why are we not hearing about this in some of these massive races that the whole country is listening to?
So housing policy choices are most influential at the state level and the local level. The federal government has fewer levers to pull to improve affordability, because what the federal government is involved with is mostly financing issues around mortgages, around lending to buy homes. And we see that the more impactful decisions are made at the state level and the local level. Do we allow apartments in our community? Do we make them easy to build? Do we have quick permitting times? Do we allow people to have a basement apartment or a backyard apartment? Is that legal throughout our state? We saw 4 states just this session pass a new law to allow backyard or basement garage apartments on every lot. And so now we've got 11 states where that's very easy and very quick. And we saw big progress this session, especially in Arizona, Colorado, and Hawaii, where housing costs have risen very, very quickly, pushed up homelessness, and pushed people to get creative because they don't have a lot of options for somewhere they can afford to live.
Well, the issue is no doubt a big deal. We appreciate you, Alex Horowitz, for breaking it down for us tonight. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.